Dear God in heaven, we are thankful again for all the gracious blessings that we have received. We ask you that you may be with us in our second part of the study and that we may continue learning our purpose and about your care for us. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Okay, so I will share screen again just to go back to where we left off. So we were trying to break down the symbol. Uh, I like to do this part because this is what actually gives the characteristics of what we are expecting to see when we make application of these symbols. People have said that the beast provides to the party power, could give different words, and that the human element, which is the woman, provides, people called it ideology, ideas, agency, agenda. We're just gonna call it how people are calling it. Um, Actually, let's call it purpose. This symbol, in and of itself, it has an element of control. What is the word that we use for the things that we grab to control horses? Is it reins?
The
The reins,
reins.
the reins. So because the reins are something so effective to controlling horses, and this is someone riding a beast, she must be in some shape or form having such an influence over this power that she uses it for her own means, her own purposes. So that's what we see here. We see some element of control. We're not saying that there is some abusive relationship, at least there is control. So we saw the beast, um, and that is the main character, or at least one of them. And the Bible refers to this whole thing as the beast. We know this because it says that the entity of woman and beast together, they were, when it says it was, from 1 to 5, it was. During 6, it is not. At 7, it will be again. The question that I asked before, and some people said it, that it has to do with the beast losing something. I think someone said power, but we know power is what the beast provides. So, what did the beast lose? In fact, it must have lost the woman in some shape or form. The beast no longer had the woman controlling it. And because the woman is the entity with a bad ideology, meaning someone with a bad ideology, then we go to 6 that we already know is the USA, and we say, well, it's interesting. Uh, for as much as the USA has not been perfect over the years, we can see that it is better than anything that has been before in terms of superpowers, because these 7 kingdoms are the 7 superpowers that control the world in some shape or form. So the 6 is the less negative of them, is good. So just by going to the simple terms, we know that it has to be good when compared to the others. So good and bad. And the only thing, this is the key part that I want us to see. What is the only thing that is bad in of itself in this symbol, given the words of Revelation 17? What is bad?
The woman.
Exactly.
Woman.
Because the word bad, the word prostitute, for example, which is what it
Yeah.
uses, it gives a tone. It is sinful, it is bad. A beast cannot be bad because animals are not bad. We cannot apply morality to them. This is when going to the natural. So, because when going to the natural, the animals are never bad. It is the entities that controls them that can be bad. Then the only thing that can make the beast not be during 6 is that thing that is bad. And then we know we're sure because we understand the parallels. Even though we don't mix parables, we do put them one above the other. We know the dragon is the final manifestation of Satan's kingdom. We know the king of the north, after verse 41, is the final manifestation of Satan's kingdom. And we know the seventh kingdom of Revelation 17 is the final manifestation of Satan's kingdom. And because we parallel the whole thing, we know the lamb is the good bit, the good portion before the dragon, and that aligns with the 6. So we have several different ways to say the 6 is a good period of time, or where a powerful kingdom is not one of the other 6 evil ones. This is good. So we do all that work and we say the only thing that is bad that can be removed is the woman. So something happened to the woman here at this point. And something must happen again with the woman at this point. Using the symbology of Revelation 17, what is the thing that must have to happen to the woman in 5? Using simple terms. What must have happened in 5 to this relationship?
The beast threw off the woman. The woman stopped riding the beast somehow.
Exactly. Somehow, without yet knowing who threw the other one away, or what exactly does that mean, the woman must have been taken out of the picture in between 5 and 6. Josephine?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm good. Thank you.
Cool.
Sorry.
Well, and what must have happened to the woman at 6? Just reversing it. It must have happened. If she was, Raymond?
It started. Do you mean at the end of 6?
Yeah, these two red errors at the
Got,
last one.
got back on the horse.
Got back on the horse. So, what an interesting way to say what the Sunday law is, right? That we just came about to say. The Sunday law is the moment when the woman climbs back to the beast and starts riding it again. So then we go and we try to, I don't want to do it too slowly because I want to get to one of the other points. I know all of you have heard what the woman is and what the beast is, but I liked us to see that just seeing the natural is not that difficult to arrive to the conclusion. The woman has to be something that has full control over that which is sitting upon, that thing that is very powerful, by the way. So we go to beast, we go to woman. We saw that there's 7 faces of this beast. We go to the chapter again. We go to the chapter and we see several things like she's sitting up on the beast. Let's read 9, for example. It says, and here's the mind that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. So that's again sitting. Then it changes and stops talking about things that you can sit upon, mountains you can sit upon, and head, but not heads. Then it goes back and says, and there are 7 kings. That's a big jump from heads to mountains to now kings. This word kings, by the way, if you look at the definition, it says foundation of power. 5 are falling, 1 is, and the other is not yet. So we know this is talking about the same thing, even though now it's calling it kings. Do we all see how these 7 things are heads, but at the same time they're mountains, and at the same time they're kings? So I hope that that is clear. So if the 7 things, go ahead, Raymond.
Um, could you just bring the verse back up, please?
Yes, of course.
I'm just a little bit like confused about verse 9. There's 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. We've just been talking about how there isn't a woman sitting on the 6th one, so
Yeah, that's a complicated bit. Because it says it doesn't say that it doesn't sit in one of them, but then it does say that there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, which we could say, well, they're just in the past. 1 is, and the other is not. But then when we go back to 8, and we know it's using the same tenses. The beast that you saw was, is not, but shall ascend. So we surely know that there's 7 kings, meaning the 6 is a king. It has to be a king. It has to be one of those heads. The only thing that
Can
is
I make a
different. Please,
Sorry,
please, go
Pedro, I
ahead.
didn't mean
No.
to interrupt you. I
Please
just
go
wanted to add a little bit to that little comment that Ray just made. At the end of the 5th kingdom, we saw the papacy was killed, wounded, killed. That kind of represented the evil woman, or the evil ideology was removed, overthrown. They had to replace that with a good ideology. So if you're looking at ideology as an alternative to woman, there still had to be someone sitting there controlling the beast. And so therefore, there was a good ideology, at least by comparison, as you said earlier. However, during the process of that 6th kingdom, there was a failure over time of them to really continue with the good ideology that they started with. Consequently, it left them open to being overthrown, and hence the bad woman, bad ideology was able to then get back on the beast. So that was just, so there's always someone controlling the beast, I guess, or the head. And the entity is just a different entity and a different ideology. Anyway, that was my thought.
Thank you for that. And whatever it is that it's always controlling one of the heads or one of the 7 kings, for some reason we're being told that then the whole called the beast, it's dead during 6. And we try to grasp what is it that make it bad. And I think that's what I just tried to do. The only thing that can make this bad is not the beast. The thing that makes it bad is the woman. So again, I don't think I have all the good arguments to answer many of these nuances, but I hope we get we can follow along with what we have. So we have the woman, we have the beast. We know the woman stops sitting in the beast between 5 and 6, and it must come back at in between 6 and 7. So then I didn't ask, I was trying to say, we need to know what is an entity that have full control over that which is powerful. And the same question, I mean, related to that would be, and what is that thing that has so much power that the woman wants it and actually says, that's actually useful for me. I wanna ride that power. So that's how we have also through comparisons with other chapters using the very structure and then the definitions of the words. I just said the word king, for example, that is mentioned there, the 7 kings. Kings there means foundation of power. So we know this is talking about kingdoms. We've always known this is talking about kingdoms, but we have been never told, at least since up until chapter 17, from Daniel to Revelation, this is the first time that we're being told. Do you understand that actually these powers are not inherently bad? They are bad because of whom is controlling it. And we go, well, what is foundation of power? That is the kings. And we know that it is in all of the kingdoms, those are the thrones of each kingdom. Today, we don't call them thrones because we don't live in monarchies, but we get the point. And then we say, who created thrones? What are thrones for and who created them? Any idea? What are thrones and who created them?
Well, we can go back to the beginning, the very, very beginning, to God. You know?
God created a throne, good. And then humans, did we do the same?
Sure, we have monarchy, kings.
And we did that for what?
The people.
So the people created them? Is that what you say, Brendan?
Yeah. To look after them.
To look after them. So you're saying the throne was created by the people to serve the people. Is that
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
so? We go and we say, well, this is a territory. People went in there, they multiplied. At some point, they need some way of govern this territory. The people themselves, they go about and say, we need to organize and create some sort of administrative power, someone who can enforce the law so that we can all be safe. And that's how kingdoms came about. So we are saying that kingdoms, meaning the power that kingdoms have, because people give them the power, kingdoms are inherently good. Or at least they were created to do good. Yet, kingdoms are never an empty chair. They are a chair that has a lot of power, can do many things, but it doesn't do it by itself. There's someone who sits in there, and this is one of the oldest stories ever told. When Israel had a faithful king, everything went good. When Israel had a bad king, everything went bad. I'm not trying to say that Israel was was one of these beasts. I'm just trying to say that a kingdom, depending on who's sitting on it, who's controlling it, it will do one thing, it will go one direction or the other. So that's one of the things that Revelation 17 is bringing up to our attention, which is not that the power itself is bad, is that whoever controls it can be bad. So that is the foundation of power. What we have said is that the head or the beast or the king, I'm going to put beast in here. If we want to jump just to our time and find definitions, I actually would like some of you to say it. What is the beast today? I know the beast slash head. What is it today?
Would it be the European powers?
Who said European? Just Greg?
Yep.
So I like what you're bringing up. What is it in the European powers that tells you it fits into the definition of a beast?
Only that the woman is controlling.
An office.
The only thing,
Its sphere of
Just-
influence. The woman
Okay.
has the sphere of influence to control the kings.
okay. And if I go to this map, in which of these numbers did the woman control the European powers?
1 to 5.
1, we know it cannot be because that's Babylon and it's not
Babylon,
Europe.
5.
5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's stay with 5. So during 5, those kings in Europe, they were so powerful that the woman said, I actually want to ride them because I can do a lot of things with them. And that's what happened. Now, we went to 6. For some reason, the woman is not controlling whatever the power of 6 is. But I want to know, because there's a head still in there. What is the head during the 6? What is it? In real life terms. Someone said the 5 is the kings of Europe, and I agree. Now, what is the head during 6?
USA.
What in the USA?
Government.
What was that?
The government.
The government? Yeah, the government is very diverse, big, and also there's one thing within the government that is more powerful than any other.
The office of the presidency.
So Catherine is saying the office of the presidency.
But
I would like to know if everyone can see why not other branches of government. Why not something else? Like the Congress. Why Congress wouldn't fit into beast or head? Why wouldn't the
Executive.
woman want the Congress?
The executive.
Molly was saying the executive,
Um,
Raymond?
I think it has to do with the different functions of the branches of government. So the Congress will pass the laws, but the office of presidency is the one that actually implements them and makes sure that they're enforced. It executes the statutes of the nation.
And if the president doesn't want one of those laws written by Congress, what
They
can
they veto it.
they don't sign it?
Yeah.
End of story.
no.
it might sound ugly, but yeah, even from its inception, the U.S. government, it doesn't have three equal branches. That is just the awful truth. The executive has more power than anything else in that government. And we're not saying that is bad. We're saying, we just said kingdoms are supposed to serve the people. And if a kingdom is attacked, that kingdom have systems in place that it doesn't need congressional approval to do certain stuff. Just go and do it. So there's more nuances to this, but I just wanted us to be able to not simply say yes because people have said it is the office of the president. I want us to be able to say it has to be the Oval Office, the most powerful office in the world, that has the ability to do anything it wants if it wanted to, and is not any of the other branches. It has to be that specific office. Is not even within the executive. There's many things. There's the military. We know the military obeys the Oval Office, the president. So we wouldn't say the FBI either. We have to say where is the top of all the power, because that's what the word king means. That's what the animal implies. This is the power. This is what the woman wants to ride, and she wants to use it. So it makes sense to say it has to be the office of the U.S. government, the office of the presidential office. Jessica, you want to add something?
No, I'm waiting to hear what is the head during the Sixth Kingdom. So I'm listening. Sorry.
Okay.
Maybe my...
No, that's fine. Ryman?
I was just thinking there was a really good practical example of this in the last week or so when President Trump called up the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, is trying to pressure him to, I think, send ships to clear the Strait of Hormuz. And Keir Starmer says, I can't just do that by myself. I have to go and talk to my cabinet and parliament. And Trump goes, "You're the prime minister. You can just sign it and make it happen." Like, and it was a really clear example of the opposite mindset of,
And then
being constrained by a parliament and a cabinet and a team, or just signing it because you're in the top seat.
And then the PM has to say, sorry, my seat doesn't, like, my base doesn't do the same thing that yours do. People can say, no, he's just violating law. Those powers that Trump is using today, they were already there. There's been emergencies and things happening along, throughout history that has thrown the U.S. office, the U.S. presidential office, more powerful through time. The fall of the Soviet Union, we could go to the Patriot Act and more things that have happened. But that power was there. Justin was asking, what is then the head during the sixth? And it is the office. Let's just call it Oval Office because we know we're talking about the USA. It is the Oval Office. But during the Seventh Kingdom, there's also a head. What is it in real life?
Oval Office, if you want to call it that.
It has to be, exactly, it has to be the same one. So the same one when we talk about the real thing, but prophecy is saying something has changed in that office that is not longer the same. But I don't want to dive into that. But that's what is being said in all the parables. Something was conquered, or the land morphed into dragon, or the sixth changed into seven. Now, it is during the 7th, this is very important. It is during the 7th that the woman is going to ride the 7th head. It is the beast in a global sense, panoramic way. It is the 7th head, dispensationally. So we go to beast, we go to head. I'm talking about today, and we're saying it is the Oval Office. And then we just need to stick to our natural. What is the thing that rides oval offices? Like a human can ride a horse.
The
We know it
president.
has to be people. So what someone said? Trump?
I say the president.
Oh, sorry, the voices got mixed up. Someone has to go first and then the other one. So Greg saying Trump. So let's go with Trump. We know it's Trump for several reasons. But now it's easy to see because that he is the person that's ultimately controlling the office today. But at some point he was not. He was like a woman looking out for a horse, and then she found it, or a beast or whatever, and then she found it and then started riding it. So that was Trump looking for forward to be the president. So here is the key. This is a key moment in our study. We have two candidates for our symbols here. Sorry, one candidate for each. We're saying the woman is Trump, at least it fits. And we're saying the beast or the 7th head is the Oval Office. We know it's the Oval Office because it was the Oval Office during the 6th. And the 7th is the same government, actually, but something changed in it. So we go to this and we say, well, Trump is the entity using this symbology, remember, that will ride that office. Now, this is not a trick question. When does, actually, we did it without realizing. We have seen right in front of our eyes how Revelation 17, different to the other two, is the only chapter that when you understand the elements and the characters, you can ask the question, when does the woman sit back? We know it's in between 6 and 7. So I make the question again. When did Trump control the Oval Office? When did the woman sit on the beast?
January.
November.
Brendan and then Molly.
Well, January when he was inaugurated and he could literally sat on that throne and started doing stuff.
So someone's saying the woman comes back to the beast at January. Molly? We have
I thought it
one
was
vote
November.
over here. One vote over here. Then we have November. Another vote over here. Anyone else? When does the woman sits on the beast?
Biden's still sitting on the throne in November. That's the problem.
January.
Someone else saying January. Molly, did you? The church?
January 20.
January 20th. So January. Molly, did you see the Brendan's
Yeah.
counter
Yeah, I can
argument?
understand.
Like Biden
No,
is
bad
using
argument.
that.
That's right.
So because he's using it, Trump is not. Just the way it is. So we know for sure the woman is riding that beast in January 2025. And if that was all we had, The answer would be January.
Question, please.
The woman, yes, Josephine.
But before the woman rode the beast in January, that woman has been aspiring, is like prepping itself to be able to ride the beast. Is that a kind of a good thing to say or not good? Because it's going through election, beginning July 18, November.
Yes.
So it's aspiring or prepping itself to make that transition.
Would you say that Trump was prepping himself here even before July?
Well, yeah, I guess we can go way back.
He announced his candidacy. Then he fought all the other candidates. Then he was nominated. Then he won. Then he actually sits on the throne. What I'm trying to say is that if we only had the symbol of woman and beast, Trump can only be represented as controlling that beast in January. Like there's no other way. There's nothing else in the symbol we could find. But that's not the only thing the woman is doing. So we go back, we open our chapter, we open verse 3, and it says, "So he carried me away into the spirit to the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast." So that's what she's doing. She's sitting on beast. What else is she doing? Verse 2. What is she doing? It says she's committing fornication with the kings. So parables is something that we can just go and say, oh yeah, I get it. Take for granted. We just need to, sit down and understand actually what's happening. So we said that this is a relationship. This is my own way of explaining. We have a relationship. Let me actually do it again somewhere else. We have the woman. That is the human entity there, has ideologies. And we have a beast. So I put the beast over here. And these two things, they come together and they have a relationship. Animal and human. There's many types of relationship between animals and human. This is the one that she's writing in. The other type of relationship that she's doing, it's committing fornication. So we will put her again in here. Now we have two pictures. Woman, again. And what we have to put underneath is actually the king. And we will just put a crown. And they are also in a relationship. And now we have to juxtapose. Who controls whom in relationship number 1?
Woman control beast.
Exactly. The woman has control over the beast. And what does the beast provides? Only the power.
Yeah.
Now, when we go to woman and king, who controls whom?
The woman control the king.
Aren't they willingly in a relationship? What's the word
Yeah,
here?
but the woman there is a prostitute now. So
Yeah,
that
and so
together.
who is the more powerful person in
consenting.
this relationship?
the woman, because he's controlling the king.
Just go by the natural.
Or the
The
king.
king.
The
King.
king.
The king is more powerful. The king has the ability to do things. The king is not a horse that you ride. The king can listen to the woman and say, I actually like what you're saying. Let's do it. That's a different type of relationship. It's not control. I don't know what word you want to call it, but we cannot make the king less guilty. They are together doing something together. And that's such a huge difference that we know these two parables, even though we always treated them as, yeah, she's sitting on the heads and the mountains and fornicating with the seven kings. Yes, she's sleeping with the kings from 1 to 5, as well as she's riding the beast from 1 to 5. During 6, she's not riding a beast and she's not sleeping with any king. But then at 7, she's again riding a beast or sleeping with a king. But when we want to talk about the timing, this is the thing. So we have, in this relationship, it is riding. And in this relationship, it is called fornication. Let's go back to, I actually erased it. At the beginning, I said, the Sunday law is not a waymark per se. It's actually what? What do you remember? It's a period. Now, what is it that we call the Sunday?
Excuse me, Pedro. Can I just deviate a fraction?
Mm-hmm.
When you were showing the king and the beast and the relationship with the king and the beast and the woman and the beast, king and the woman, I was thinking with the fifth kingdom, we say that it rose over a period of time, as is what you're insinuating now, that the Sunday law is a period of time. So with the fifth kingdom, it received its power, its seat, and authority over a period. So having that in mind, when we go to the seventh kingdom, and you've got July, November, and January, you have the woman receiving its power, seat, and authority over a period from July to January. That's just the thoughts that were coming to my mind as you were talking.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Well, there's one thing that I see is that power, seat, and authority. That is Revelation 13, I believe. And just by itself, Revelation 13 is a different parable. And power, seat, and authority, if I'm not mistaken, it was something along like 508 or 496 and 508, and then 533, great authority. And then 538, she's finally that woman in Kingdom 5 controlling the kings of Europe. So the Sunday law continues being 538. But if we make power, seat, and authority, and July be the first moment, then July wouldn't be the Sunday law. The reason I don't want to mix chapter 13 to 17 is because they are different parables. It is likely that we will make a wrong parallel. So what we have to do first is understand 17 completely separate and say, Revelation 17 is talking about a beast that for a period of time lose the entity that controls it, the bad entity. But there's a warning in Revelation 17 that beast will come back. We have interpreted to be that woman will come back. That is actually what will come back to power. And we say, well, it has to be, I haven't proven why is 2024. I don't want to talk about that. But we have decided it happens during the 2024 election cycle. And it is the arrival of Trump. And we just say he's riding that beast in January, which is the same as saying he's sleeping with the king in January. Do you all see how in January it's both the moment of riding and both the moment of sleeping together, having sex?
Um, can I, yeah, I understand that, but can I put it in a different way, perhaps?
Yeah.
Because that's how I understand it.
Yeah, have a go.
When we get to Revelation 17, we're actually making an application, looking at America, and the verse says that shall rise or shall ascend out of the pit. So so it's not, we're not looking at a specific dispensation. We're making an application there. That's how I understand it, because we're looking at future. When we jump from 13 and 17 in the fifth kingdom, we're looking at future. Is that?
But we know. But we know for sure. Yeah, we have to apply to understand real life. But I don't know. I'm not sure when you're saying make application. What do you mean?
Because we're no longer at 5 at a specific dispensation. We're looking at making an application about the what's happening in America. It's future. Well, future from the time John is looking at, is that?
I think John is looking at the whole thing and saying during 1 to 5 the beast was, during 6 the beast is not, and during 7 he'll come back again. Like, I know there's many elements in the description of the woman that fits into the papacy and the period of the Dark Ages, but I'm looking at the chapter objectively, and I'm seeing he's giving actually a lot of detail about the moment when this bad entity comes back, which is 7.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like, so I don't know if I'm explaining correctly, or I'm not saying that what you said is.
I accept what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Pedro, is it right to say that it was the beast number 5 was committing fornication, and number 6 is not committing fornication, and when it comes to number 7, is committing fornication again?
Exactly. Kings from 1 to 5 they committed fornication.
Yeah.
The king
so it's not
in number 6 didn't.
Okay.
And then in the 7, whoever that king is, we have identified to be the Oval Office in its 7th identity. That one commits fornication with the woman. The second thing that we did is that we identified that this happens. What's my symbol? The riding of the woman, riding the beast, meaning that he controls it. It is January. But we know the woman is doing 2 things: is riding beasts, but also committing fornication with kings. So both things are a repeat and enlarge. Enlarge it because it gives more, it says more things about it. So what I wanted to do, people, it's looking at the Sunday law, reminding us what it is. It is we are in a line of time, and we know that there's a moment in time that is called, in chapter 13, it's called the mark of the beast. But in chapter 17, it is called the fornication of the woman, or the riding of the beast. And if you want to say, when does it begin? That's what we call a waymark. A waymark would be the beginning of that we have identified. Now, the fornication will be all of this, or the riding of the beast. We need to find its first moment, because that first moment will be our marker. And our marker is where we're going to place the waymark. And we will say, this is when it started. And it started in January, meaning that she's riding the beast. But the chapter is bringing a second symbol, and it's saying fornication. And the word fornication, it's something that we know from the Bible. It's basically, if we have fornication, like an umbrella, it's a terrible umbrella. A fornication, it's simply the term to describe any type of illegal sexual relationship. So underneath, there's several types of illegal relationships. You can call it, I don't know, all horrible, whatever horrible thing about sex you can find that is illegal, it's under fornication, whether it's adultery, whether it's rape, whether it's incest, like all those bad ways of doing this is fornication. That's because it's called sin. And that's what is being said in Revelation 17. So when we go and say, well, when does fornication begin? Different to riding animals, in fornication, we do have a beginning point that is before the physical. And that's what people are talking so much about adultery or fornication. And that's because in the Bible, Jesus took the time, Matthew 5, Jesus took the time to say, he talked about it specifically to adultery. Adultery is just one type of fornication. There's many types of fornication. And God is saying, you actually commit fornication before you even do it physically. That's what he's saying. Like your intentions, when you started planning it, you already did it. That's what God is saying. That's when I know you committed fornication. So it is not us. It is not even human stories. It's God saying, this is something that begins before the physical touch. So when you go and say, yes, this marker over here that we called it when the woman rides the beast, which is here, if it was only that symbol, we would say it's January, but it is fornication. And fornication has a moment that is even before the physical part. So if it is before, the immediate thing that happens, it's this. It's not January. Because that's when the woman and the king sleep together. They consummate it. Now we need to look for anything before, and we need to find the marker for the beginning. And that's when, because the Bible is using the word fornication, we use the Bible as well. We go to a verse where fornication is being described. Here it's being called adultery, which is one type of fornication. But the principle applies to any type of fornication. And we say, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery. The fornication happens when? What is the word that you would pick up in this verse to say when? I want to talk about timing. Based on that verse, when is the when?
When you look.
When you
When you look.
The
So we can
mind.
see it is there. Josephine, you see it too? You wanted to say something?
In the mind, when you look, you get the picture.
Yeah, but I mean, it says you look to lust. You not just look. You're gonna look to
Exactly.
lust because we all see women every day, you know. But when
So
you look
it's
to,
like this king wasn't seeing the woman. Whoever that woman was, the king wasn't aware of it. When he looked at her, whatever you want to call it, he couldn't resist. He lost. And then he not only lost, then he made plans and arranged a timing and then slept with her. So all of that, it's irrelevant. God is saying, when you looked at her to lust, you did it. So now we have a new moment when we can say the fornication actually begins before. That is the moment when, just for the sake of the study, we will remove the writing in terms of helping us finding out the timing. The writing is very useful to many things and to make us know that it has to be an election cycle because it's about controlling the Oval Office. But then we use fornication to find the timing because fornication, this is very important, gives us the earliest moment. And because finding waymarks, it's about the earliest moment. It's about when it begins. The Sunday law begins here. The fornication of the woman of Revelation 17 begins here. It's when she looks. Sorry, it's not when she looks. Who looks at whom? It's actually a good question. Who looks at whom and the fornication happens?
Both of
And
them.
God, yeah, both of them.
Man.
yeah.
But what is the great sin? Because she's already called prostitute. She's bad already. Who is it that we decided? Remember, we said a throne is actually good. People created it to serve themselves, to give out good things. So the king is a good person. We're looking for the sin. And a prostitute was already sinning. So that's not the sin that we care about. We're looking for the sin of the king. That is the moment when God says, that is the sin. Does that make sense? She was already sinning.
Yes.
So if she was already sinning, who was not sinning yet?
The king.
The king.
So this seventh king had to be not sinning at some point and then started to sin. I don't want to get into the nuances, but just at a simple level. So now let's work out our model, beginning with the natural. I'm going to put the king over here. I'm going to put the woman to the other side because it's not physical touch. They're not on bed. It's about Matthew 5 when they look. We look at the woman and we know she's been looking to the king already. That's what she does. But the fornication will happen when both see each other. But it is the king who has to see her too. If they do this, fornication took place. She was already sinning. It's about when does the king committed the sin. That's my way of explaining it. That's why I'm saying I find it in the king. But because that's what fornication is all about, is two people. And this parable. So I've removed the errors. They're not seeing each other yet. The king is doing whatever that is not sinning. And then he starts looking. The question is, how does this help us find either November or July? Because we already strip out January. It's not January. January is the physical moment.
Well, it's the ability for the king to see the woman.
Exactly. It's the ability for him to see her. So I ask,
So
who
before
is
he
the
couldn't,
king? Exactly.
now he can for some reason.
In this election cycle, who is again that king? Let me put it in this picture.
The Oval Office.
Here's the king, and it is the office. Before July, during the primaries, he's married to the good woman. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We're putting a good woman just to say he was not sinning. I haven't proven, I'm not going to, that there's a good woman, but you have heard about that. There's more things to talk about. So he's not sinning. In November, he is also with her, actually. So I put the woman here, good. Physically, she is with him. But we're trying to find out that the entity, I'm going to put it on top of the line, the woman who is from afar, when during these times she became first visible for him.
July.
Why not before?
No election.
Because of Nikki Haley.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put another color. Let's put yellow. There's yellow, yellow, yellow. Those are all Republican candidates. Among them, there's the bad woman. In the primaries, none of them are the candidate. They are they're running to become the candidate. But when are you officially the candidate?
July 18.
It's like saying this. It's like the king. It's in here, and there was something like a wall. I'm gonna put a wall, whatever that is, a door, something was preventing visual contact. Where we are sticking to visual because that's what Matthew says. When you look at the woman, then you committed the fornication. So something had to be there, stopping the eyesight of the king. Whatever that is, at some point it is removed. And we are saying that in January, whatever that was preventing the eye contact had already long been removed because they already know each other. They are about to consummate. In November, the woman already gained access to him. So I'm going to erase the good woman for a moment because it's like they are already in transition. It's like the other woman already knows that they are about to divorce and the king is getting married to the prostitute. So what I use, this is my way of seeing it. I look at the actual process of the election cycle, and I can see that the chair is not expecting any of these people. It doesn't even know who they are. The chair needs to know who are the actual candidates, and you only become a significant candidate if the party approves you, the two major parties. Does that make sense? Like before July, either because there's too many people, you cannot single out anybody, or just because you cannot see. The chair, the office of the president, no one is running for the office of the president if you're not really a candidate. You are running the primaries to become the candidate. Someone told me like this, which I think it was Elo Paminda. It sounded very interesting. Like, imagine Kamala. Let's say Trump wasn't the bad woman. He was going to be a good person, whatever. And Kamala was going to be the dictator. When would have been the eye contact, the fornication, the sun dealing?
The Democratic National Convention.
Exactly. And that would have been, we would have not talking about August. We would have been talking about, we would have been talking about July. We would have been talking about August all this time if she was the bad woman. But because she was not, she becomes irrelevant to a story. We take it out. She's noise. And we focus on the sin. That's what Revelation 17 does. It focuses on the sin. It has to come someone who is not supposed to be running for that office. And I'm saying, legally, Trump is not even candidate before July. Even when Nikki Haley drop out, if the delegates doesn't approve you, if the party doesn't say you are a candidate, they could have done so. They could have said, we cannot have Trump. This is going too far. Trump would have never had access to campaigning for the office. So that's why we say the barrier, I'm talking about the visual barrier, has to be at the nomination, because you're not even the candidate before. The chair doesn't know who you are until you are approved. I don't know if that's a stretch or I'm explaining in a strange way. I'm saying the chair doesn't even know you before you are approved by the party. Anything outside that is irrelevant. I know there's other candidates in every presidential election. Nobody talks about them because it's noise. It's about the two major parties. That's because the system is working that way right now. It wasn't always two parties, but that's what it is right now. So when we go to fornication, we see that there's a moment that this wall that was preventing the king from even knowing who the woman was, at some point the wall was removed. And then we go and say, that's why we have Quintus, Fabius, Maxim, and Gurgis. One, what is Q providing?
July.
It's providing a month. So we put July. What is Fabius providing?
It's about elections, voting
It's
to election.
Exactly. It's bringing up the theme. So one is the time, one is the theme, which we know is elections. Elections, because this is talking about the six and seven kingdom that are in the USA, and they rise or fall through elections. That's just how it works. So the theme is when you elect people, not the day that people go to vote. It could be when people go to vote, but we are finding that it is fornication, the marker. So we have July provided by Quintus. We have elections, the theme provided by Fabius. And what is Maximus Gurgis providing? It has to match the theme of July and elections. What is Gurgis?
Be like just elected unopposed,
Flood.
like a total landslide election.
Remember that we found out that it's not even the
Election.
election. It's when
Like
it's
the
July.
It's like a flood.
Okay, someone said flat. Catherine said a dam.
I said it's like the dam wall breaks, so that gatekeeper protective mechanism, it breaks there. It's like if a dam wall broke, you get a flood.
So let's say, Catherine, just trying to find a way to summarize it. You're saying restrain, removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, restraint removed.
So let's picture the Gurges, which is this flood. A flood in and of itself, it's almost always happening when water overflows its limits, either the sea line, either a river because it was raining too much, it overflowed its limits, or because it is a dam that we know it's limited to be at a certain area by this wall. When it is removed, then you have a flood as well. Anyone remember because I looked it up in Wikipedia, why this person was called Gurgis? Anyone remember the wording of Wikipedia? Like he was called Gurgis because such and such.
Wasn't he like a glutton? He was known for living quite excessively.
With
Exactly.
no restraint.
Exactly. I don't even know how to spell gluttonous. Anyway, a gluttonous person, which is intemperance, means that it was supposed to restrain itself, but it didn't. So it is the removal of a restraint. Gluttonous has no limits. It says in Wikipedia, it says something like he was called Gurgis because of the gluttonous habits of his youth. He would consume every luxury or something like that. So there's even in the word gluttonous, we can see that they're not restrained. So then we go to the story of the election cycle, and we can see that July, it's perfectly the job function of these people who voted for him in July was to restrain anyone who shouldn't be there. So because they didn't restrain what they were supposed, we say the restraint was removed, either because the Republican Party was changed, because they compromised, whatever that is, the wall, the visual contact that was being restrained was removed in July, and then the king was able to see the woman. And because the eye contact is made, we know the king couldn't resist. And we say, well, the office of the president cheated in July because it happens first when you look. And we say, I'm just repeating myself, that eye contact happens in July. And that's how I know it cannot be November. It cannot be January. It cannot be anywhere before July. It has to be when Trump becomes visible for the office. And that's when he became candidate.
Excuse me, Pedro, 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. We just arrived to the limit. Maybe we will have time for feedback, comments, or questions, but I hope that was
Yes,
helpful.
definitely. Excuse me, Pedro, could you just put up that last bit you wrote about Quintus Fabius Maximus again, please?
Of course.
Have you finished your presentation then, Pedro? Is that it?
Yes, I have.
Yep. Okay, so we will do you want to have a prayer and then open to questions, or would we rather just have questions now?
However you prefer. I can pray and then we finish. So we don't have
Okay.
the video be too long.
Yeah, have a prayer and then have questions or
Okay.
discussion. Thank you.
So let's have a prayer. Thank you, God, for the process that we went through. each of one of us to understanding better prophecy, understanding better the way you want us to arrive to conclusions. Continue helping us. May we continue doing our duty to strengthen one another and do our part in the great controversy. I ask you for all of these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.